Ms. Sparks?
I don't believe she's on, Madam Chair.
All right, is there another person besides, I see Mr. Jordan on, but I'm not sure if he's ready now.
You know, we prefer
Mr. Massey?
Madam Chair, it's interesting to me that one of the most sophisticated technical geniuses on this committee is Thomas Massey, and he can't get his microphone to work. That's interesting.
He's a scientist. If you don't mind, Mr. Ranking Member, I will go to let me see if he is ready now. Mr. Massey? Okay. Mr. Massey?
Still having troubles. We're still having troubles hearing you, Thomas. Madam Chair, yes, go ahead to a Democrat, and then we'll come back to Mr. Massey.
We'll work with Mr. Massey. He's probably got a new scientific approach. Thank you. Again, thank you, and it's my privilege and pleased to yield to the gentlelady from Pennsylvania, Ms. Scanlon, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for calling this hearing today. Obviously, one of the issues that built bipartisan support for passage of the First Step Act was mass incarceration throughout the United States. We incarcerate exponentially more people per capita than any other country in the world. A staggering 698 out of every 100,000 people, for a total of over 2 million people in jail in the US. But as we try to move our prison system to a more rehabilitative and a more productive model, we know that there are longstanding problems with that prison system, and particularly its treatment of Black and brown inmates, and that must be addressed. For example, in 2015, the Washington Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights released a report condemning conditions in the DC jails, and those conditions and findings have been largely ignored until a more diverse population recently was incarcerated there. So we know there's plenty of work to do. But Dr. Goodwin, I am interested in the GAO's findings that the Bureau of Prisons has been deficient in planning for new programs and initiatives to help inmates prepare for a successful return to the community. Can you elaborate on your concerns in this regard and share any suggestions for congressional action to move this process along?
Well, thank you for that question, Congresswoman. So I will hearken back to the report that we did on BOP staffing and the concerns that we raised there, and talk about like the challenges that presents for individuals preparing for reentry. So if you don't have the appropriate staffing levels, you don't have, the folks to provide, the drug treatment and education programs or any of the other programs or activities that an inmate would need to help earn them time credits. So we've got the new proposed legislation out there, but we at GAO, we're also mindful that if the staffing numbers or the numbers aren't there, then the programs won't be there, and the inmates aren't able to earn those time credits. And so that affects kind of what their reentry looks like. We've also done work looking at the federal prison industries, because that is also another way that, to provide additional job skills to folks who are incarcerated. But if those programs aren't in place, time credits aren't getting earned. And then when people are coming out of prison, they're coming out with, fewer job skills. So that's a concern that we have, absolutely.
Thank you. Ms. Guernsey, did you have anything to add?
I don't.
Okay. And how about you, Mr. Venters?
No.
Okay. I mean, I do think it's really, really important that we're setting people up for success upon release. Otherwise, we end up in this endless cycle of incarceration, and that doesn't help any of us. So I would like to keep looking at that. And thank you, Madam Chair. I yield back.
Madam Chair,
the gentlelady yields back.